fans, welcome to the newest episode of The Bearded Gamer Show. As always, I'm your host, obviously the Bearded Gamer, Chris Arnone. Now, I know what I'm wearing. This is not strictly an endorsement of Best Buy. It was a free t-shirt. I can't wear it in public or people want me to fix their computers. But since I'm thinking of it, actually Best Buy's got a trade-in deal going right now. They give you a 100% bonus on all your trade-in stuff. So if you're looking to unload some games, it might be the time. Anyway, moving on. I have a winner for a recent giveaway I was doing. I know some people are very excited. The Razer Naga 2012 edition. All right? Was giving it away. I surpassed my 3,500 subscribers. We're at about 3,600 right now. And so I took all my comments. I whittled it down to just one comment from each person, made a list, went to Wolfram Alpha, asked for a random integer, and out came B92 Bomber. B92 B-O-M-B-E-R. I will be sending you a message shortly after this video goes live to get your shipping information so you can get your slightly used only for a review with these hands Razer Naga 2012 edition. It'll be awesome for you. And thanks everybody else for commenting and for subscribing. And of course, I love you guys so much. I'm working out something else to do, some new giveaways coming down the line. You know what's coming, all right? Let's get into the good news, bad news. So first up, we got some good news, I think. Now, I hate doing announcements of announcements. They kind of irk me every time I see every video game journalism outlet on the internet talking about announcements of announcements. We got it. I really want to wait for the announcement. But this one is so big, I just can't ignore it, okay? Nintendo has announced they are going to have a press conference in New York City September 13th. Now, unless the sky falls down or pigs start flying, you can be pretty sure that we're finally going to get a release date and a price for the Wii U. A lot later than we all thought. We figured they'd be at Tokyo Game Show. That's kind of what their MO has been in the past, that they don't announce it at E3. They go to Tokyo Game Show, and that's where we get the information. But this time that didn't happen. They weren't at Tokyo Game Show at all. So, September 13th, you can pretty much count on it at this point. And maybe also some hardware specs. Maybe, possibly, we'll have to wait and see. Some just straight up news. Now, I already said earlier that there's no price cut for the PlayStation Vita this year. Now they're also saying there will also not be a price cut for the PlayStation 3 this year. Now, Shuhei Yoshida commented at Gamescom that the PS3 is in prime time right now and will not see a price cut this year. He also dispelled rumors of the Super Slim PS3 as just that. Just rumors. Now I say it's kind of news because I don't think it really needs a price cut right now, and they've got a lot of great games coming down the line. In fact, at this point, they're definitely in the driver's seat when it comes to exclusive titles. Now, whether they can actually outsell the 360 this year for the holiday season, that's a big thing to do. They were nowhere near that last year. I just really don't know if they have the capability, but they definitely have the better exclusive games this year. So if at any point there was a chance, it seems like they're most primed to do it this year. But then again, the Wii U will probably blow them all out of the water because it'll be the hot new thing. Some more good news. Diablo 3 is deepening their end game. Now, you can head over to blizzplanet.com for a lot more information. I do their shows, and Blizz Planet Gaming on YouTube. I go into much more depth about this, but they're adding 100 Paragon levels after level 60. So basically, essentially getting rid of the level cap in many ways. It's a slightly different system. Of course, there's no more skills to unlock, but you get more your bonuses to your character traits, and then you're going to get gold and magic find bonuses. They're going to crank all the way up to 300% when you hit Paragon level 100, which is just huge. So really doing a lot to try and deepen that end game, along with a whole bunch of other changes that came out with 1.0.4. A lot of people complaining about the game. Blizzard is listening. Blizzard is trying to fix things and make it better. So I think that's great. I think you never judge a company based on its errors, unless, of course, it keeps making them over and over again, but more on how, the strides they take to fix those errors, to make good on it. And Blizzard is doing a great job right now. Finish up with one little more piece of good news. Dust 514 is now out in beta for PlayStation Plus users. Now, if you don't know what Dust 514 is, it is a first-person shooter. It's kind of a sci-fi thing, but it actually ties directly into EVE Online. In fact, when the whole thing goes live, the two games will actually sort of cross over, play together, to where people in EVE Online can actually like send orders and send money to people who are playing in Dust 514 on PlayStation 3. It's going to be a massively multiplayer online first-person shooter. But since it already has the EVE Online kind of thing going with it, I think that gives it a better chance to be successful than we saw with like MAG, which had success for a while, but of course eventually did kind of die off. But I think with the existing fan base you have with EVE Online, this may have a better chance. So if you're PlayStation Plus, you can get the beta right now and have fun with it. All right, so that does it for the good news, bad news. Let's get into a controller confessional. All right, so back at Gamescom, EA Executive Vice President Patrick Soderlund was asked about physical retail media with video games and asked how long it would still be viable, or if it is still viable. And this I'm going to direct quote right here, so I'll read a bit. "I think it's going to be sooner than people think. I think it's going to be sooner than 10 years. That's my personal opinion and might not be what EA thinks." Now, first off, let's be very clear. This is a guy who's an executive vice president for Electronic Arts. He is speaking to CVG, a video game media outlet. It doesn't matter if he tries to say it's only personally what he thinks, he is speaking on behalf of Electronic Arts, okay? And even if this really is just his personal opinion, keep in mind he's an executive VP. He has knowledge of the inner workings of EA and of the games industry as a whole that none of us can even come close to. So this opinion of his is based on some really deep inside information about the gaming industry and EA in specific. I also want to be very clear that EA hates the secondary market. We know this. They created the online pass. They do everything they can to fight the used game and game rental market. And I tell you what, digital distribution, no physical media, is the solution to that problem that they see. So there's that giant, big old grain of salt we're taking right there. Now I'm going to move forward and talk about, what is this like? Is this possible? Is this even something to consider, that within 10 years, within a decade, we will no longer have physical video games in our hands? Everything will be digital only. Now let's talk about how viable this might be, okay? It's not hard to completely imagine if you really think about it. Look what the Kindle has done to books. It launched in 2007. We've only had the Kindle for 5 years, and look what it has done to books. Look how much of that has shifted to e-readers, okay? Look at what Steam has done for PC games in 9 years. At this point, most retailers don't even see a point of putting PC games on store shelves. It's just not worth it for them anymore. There's very few that still get any traction physically at all, and it's only the absolutely massive releases like Skyrim or Blizzard games. And it's still, sort of in limited quantities, and it's really still mostly digital sales. Steam just blew it out of the water. I mean, look at what the internet as a whole has done to magazines. I mean, everything is online now. Nintendo Power just died. That thing has been running since 1988, the official magazine of Nintendo, and even it's gone. They just can't survive with the internet and how, sort of the speed of news nowadays. So it's really not completely impossible to imagine that maybe we won't have discs in our hands anymore for video games in 10 years. Speaking of which, the Ouya, I've been told at Motaku, apparently that's how you're supposed to pronounce it. I don't know, I think I sound funny when I say Ouya. Anyway, it has obviously no room for physical media. That's going to be digital download only. And also, Google Fiber's coming. And I really think this is going to push internet service providers across the nation and then across the world to evolve or die. You have got to keep up. You have got to be faster. The technology is there. It's time to start using it and selling it to people instead of, making people pay loads and loads of money for this trickle of an internet connection when the technology is there to give them a waterfall. So that's a big barrier of entry for that kind of, complete digital distribution is like, how long does it take to download a 4 gig, 8 gig, or larger game? Google Fiber? Not that long, really. If we can all get gigabit internet, it wouldn't take that long. You also talk about decreased shipping costs for the publishers, decreased printing costs, a reduced carbon footprint. I'm kind of a hippie. I like that green stuff, not just money. I mean, actually reducing emissions and reducing, all of our carbon footprint, like I said. The only real drawback I see is, of course, the collectors. Now we all know nerds love to collect crap. I'm kind of weird. I'm kind of a minimalist. I get rid of stuff when it starts taking up too much room on my shelf, but I'm weird. Most nerds that I know we love our tchotchkes, we love our collector's editions, and we love to have that video game shelf that people come in and go, wow, you own like a lot of games. And that goes away. You know, at this point, it's just you sort of boot up Steam and go, see, there's my list. And yeah, it's not as impressive, and it's kind of more, I'm obviously showing off because it's like, hey, look at my screen, rather than like, and they notice your shelf. But other than that, I think it really seems, I put a lot more things in that pro list than that con list. You know, we're not there yet, obviously. The internet capability isn't there. It's definitely not there for everybody. And there are certain countries that have it a lot better than others. So I think physical media obviously still has a place. It is still the majority of the income. Yeah, Soderlund even said that most of their sales still comes from physical media. But that shift has been continuing over the last several years more and more toward the digital side of things. So my belief, I think this is the future. It will be the future. Even if it's not the future we want, it is what is coming. A digital future. I'm not going to quote Tron, even though I really want to. All right, does it for my controller confessional and this video. See you guys next time.